Hello, my name is Aivelyn Karsten. I'm from Clackamas, Oregon, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience outside of being a performer. So last year, I auditioned for our fall musical, which was Cinderella, the Rodgers and Hammerstein 2013 Broadway version. I was cast as Marie, the fairy godmother, but I also participated in a design project over the summer in which some design students got to speak with the director, choreographer, and musical director about the conceptual frame of the show and then create some draft designs that professionals who came in to actually design the show could later utilize or not utilize. I worked on designs because I do visual arts as a hobby, and I had never done design previously, but my mother was a stage manager and my best friend's a lighting designer, so I thought it was about time to get into that. So I did quick sketches for all of the lead characters. I did some research about the time frame. The director gave us French court and or Germany in the 1700s, which are pretty different, but they work. So I have 2 to 3 sketches for each character. I started with Marie because she was my character and I knew the most about her at that point in time. I really wanted to give her a look that was different from the rest of the characters because she's sort of on the outside but also on the inside. So uh, uh, underneath, I decided to go with the stepsisters because they seemed like um, they would be some of the most fun to design. I wanted to make the sisters match, but not like totally match. Like they were opposite of, not personality wise, obviously, but their designs would be opposite of each other so that they mirrored each other, sort of. And then when I went on to do Madame, I really focused on the shape of her dress and the shape of her collar because I wanted to give her that sort of ostentatious sort of appearance, whereas her daughters had a lower collar that kind of made them seem aloof. So I just kind of wanted to set them apart. On all of my sketches, there's also a very short color palette. It has to do with a different page, just some ideas. Then I moved on to the men. I guess I have to do Ella. I kind of just took from the Broadway show because we were going to use a transformation dress, and there wasn't a whole lot of other ways to design that transformation dress. As for Topher, I wanted to give him um, sort of a like I'm I don't have fragile masculinity appearance because he's a really like emotional and feelings kind of guy. So I gave him like fancy collar, pretty buttons, all kinds of stuff that made him look regal, but not like tough regal. Then we get to John Michel. I wanted to give him sort of an asymmetrical, slightly off balance look. And what was really important to me about him is that he like almost looked put together, but not quite. Like he was almost there. And then Sebastian has kind of a classic like uh, evil sidekick appearance, really long coat, sharp edges, all that sort of stuff. Um, then what's important about those is I created a color scheme throughout all of the main characters because the director had spoken about the contrast in colors between the peasants and the regal people. The peasants were supposed to be more earthy and grimy, and the regal people were supposed to have more like jewel tones. And then through discussion with my director, we talked about Marie being sort of the balance between all of that, but she's also kind of like the foresty person because that's what lies between the town and the castle. So all the characters are numbered because it's a small sketch of each character. So John Michel would be the earthiest, the grittiest, and Sebastian being like the darkest jewel tone because he's kind of the darkest character. So I tried to kind of go off their alignment. And then Marie being the stark green in the middle. My other part of the design was I was responsible for poster design for the show, working with a volunteer / professional in our department to create a good poster design and the front of the program. So I have some thumbnail sketches here from my original ideas. There was a few of them. I had the classic shoe vector right in the middle. There was also a design in which the moon's beam like transformed the peasant Ella into the Princess Ella. And then I really like character vectors. So the other one would have been Cinderella's bust, and then I was thinking about doing postcards of the other characters that people could give out. I continued to develop these things. We thought about using all four our whole season on the front of our program, but ultimately we did not do that. The finished product was more similar to this. We decided to use the clock as our centerpiece because the theme of our season is change, and the big theme in Cinderella for her change is the clock. So the final product looked like this. It was the night sky. There's some stars here. I don't know if you can see that on the video. And the clock vector in the background slightly blurred out with the title in the middle. So yeah, I really enjoyed working on this project, and I would really like to be able to develop my skills further in design categories so that I can do a little more outside of performance, because I think it's really important to be well-rounded. I know that being more involved with design and tech over the show gave me a lot more appreciation as an actor for what's happening behind the scenes, and I think it's really important that you know what's happening. Additionally, I am my troupe's public relations officer, and so through my design project of the poster, I was also responsible for media and press for the show. So I was able to write the press release and get that sent out. I also did an interview with our local newspaper, and I got our Cinderella to also have an interview, and those were published and actually went out, and our press photos were also on that.